Good afternoon, everyone. I think we should be live on the Facebook page. I can see that lots of you are joining me already for today's stamp along, which is super exciting. So thank you so much. Hello to Patricia, Diane, Joanna, Jackie. Thank you so much for joining me. I am really excited for today's project. So if you haven't seen our little sneak peeks that have been up on social media and everything like that, this is the project that we are going to be making today. So we're going to be making this fabulous twisted easel card, okay? So you can see how it's got all of, we're going to be creating an inky background, we're going to be creating these fabulous flowers as well. And do you know what's even better about this project? The flowers and the background and all the colours are kind of created just by using some distress ink pads and some cut and dry foam. So basically all I did was started out with white card. How cool is that? And then you're going to be able to create these kind of effects at home, which is super exciting. So hello everyone, thank you for joining me. I can see that there are lots and lots of you joining the live feed today, which is awesome. So we're going to be using some of the latest Chloe's Creative Cards products. We are going to be using the Clematis stamp and die, and we're going to be using the geometric background stamp as well, and we're also going to be using that fabulous happy birthday die that you have all been going crazy for at the moment on the website. You have been loving it, and I think it's because it's so versatile. If you have a little look at this die, okay, it's really nice to use as an accent on your cards, but you can also be using it as a focal feature as well, and especially for men's cards and things like that. If you hop over to YouTube, I popped a video on the other day, but especially for men's birthday cards and things like that, it's a really nice focal image for your project, but it still looks really elegant and classy, and it's just a really useful die. It's definitely one that I would be adding into my stash. So I'm going to pop the list of ingredients up because I can see so many that I can see so many of you are joining me now. So I'm going to pop the ingredients list up and then we will be about ready to get started. Of course, as always, if you hop over to the website, which is chloescreativecards.co.uk, you'll be able to shop all of the products that I'm using in today's tutorial. So the only thing that we haven't got on there is the distress ink pads, because I think a lot of us kind of already have those in our stash, or we have something that's a little bit similar that we can use as well. So I'll talk to you about that today. And yeah, so we've got all the goodies on the website, and then if you hop over to the website and if you click on the blog, which is chloescreativecards.co.uk/blogs, that's a bit of a tongue twister, /news, you will be able to have a little look on there, and you'll be able to see the projects that we've made in previous stamp alongs. Because can you actually believe it? We've been doing these stamp alongs for 10 weeks now. This is week 10. And do you know what's even more amazing? It's week 10 on the 10th of June. How weird is that? So yes, so this is week 10 of the stamp along. So this is the 10th project. So if you have maybe just found the page today, please do hop over to the blog, because what I've done is all the previous videos I've been uploading onto the blog, and they normally go up on a Thursday, and all the free PDF downloads are on there as well. So if you just hop over to the website, and then if you click on the link on the bottom of the page, it says download your instruction sheet here. You just click on that and you'll get a free PDF download which has got full step-by-step instructions as to how to make this project. And then if you refer back to the page as well, obviously the video will go on there afterwards. But today we are crafting along live, which is amazing. Thank you so much. There are so many. Oh, Annette's asking, are there any sneak peeks? I think you've noticed the coming soon page on the website, haven't you? Well, on my to-do list tomorrow, I need to update the images on that page. So basically, I started writing the text yesterday, and yes, I've noticed in the Facebook group that you have all noticed already that I've updated that page. So please ignore the photos that are on there, because they're going to be updated. They are not relevant to the next launch at all. So just keep a little eye, maybe have a little look back tomorrow. But yes, we'll be posting some sneak peeks very soon. It's a very exciting launch. It's something that I've wanted to do for a long time. It is, as always, incredible value, and I have thought about this for exactly what I want to craft with and how I would use it. And also we've thought about the storage too. And that is all I'm going to say, because I've probably said too much. I can see that Sophie is asking, could you make a Merry Christmas die similar to the Happy Birthday? Yes, of course we will be doing that. Erin is Oh, Erin is saying she received her goodies the other day. It's shipped so quickly. Thank you so much, Erin. Of course, international shipping is now reopened on the website as well. So if you are an international customer, obviously with COVID-19, we kind of suspended it for a little while, but we've got that reopened now. So if you hop over to the website, chloescreativecards.co.uk, you will be able to fill your crafty shopping cart. Okay then, so thank you so much for your comments. I'm going to get going because I feel like I've been talking for ages, but as we all know, I'm quite good at talking. So what we're going to be making, if you just joined us, because I can see the numbers have just shot up for the views, we're going to be making this twisted easel card today. So this was inspired by one of Glynis's projects. So if you love this project, hop over the blog that I've got underneath, chloescreativecards.co.uk/blogs/news, and there are 2 projects on there that Glynis did, and she's used the same techniques but totally different cards. Okay, but loads of you asked on Facebook, so I thought we'd do it as a stamp along. Okay, Monica's asking, will you be doing bundles on your website again? Yes, we will be doing bundles for the new products when they are released, which I can't remember the release date off the top of my head, but I think it might be 2 weeks tomorrow. I think that is what we are scheduled to kind of go live with them on. So yes, very exciting. Okay then. Oh, Trish is saying, remember when you were doing craft along, saying how hot it was, and now you're back in jumpers. I know. Isn't it just really cold and miserable today? What is with this weather? We want the sun to be back out again. Normally it's roasting in my little craft room as well, because it's at the front of the house, so all the sunlight comes in, but I'm literally sat next to the window, so it gets really hot. But today I've been freezing. I've had a cardigan on top of this jumper as well. But I didn't think it was a good look for Facebook Live, so I took it off. I just left the jumper on. Okay then. Right, so we are going to get started. So hopefully you've all hopped over on to the blog and you have downloaded your instructions. I'm going to pop the little materials list up just to show you what you are going to need for today's stamp along. So you are going to need opaque bright white superfine embossing powder. That's the Wow powder, okay, which is awesome. I do believe it's out of stock on the website right this moment, so that's the 10th of June, but we do have lots more in order, so it should be in very soon. You are also going to need Wow Clear Gloss Superfine Embossing Powder, which is what we're going to use. We're going to be using that a lot on this project, which is quite cool. You're going to need the Clematis Flower Stamp and Die Set. You are also going to need the Geometric Background Stamp and Die Set. Now, of course, if you've maybe got one of our other background stamps, you could be using that instead if you wanted to. I just thought the Geometric one works really, really well to create the background, because the resist works really nicely on here. You are also going to need that fabulous Happy Birthday Stamp and Die Set. Okay, now obviously if you're making this for a different occasion, you could use a different sentiment on this project too. You are also going to need the Stamps by Chloe Spring Foliage Clear Stamp Set. Now a little confession from me, I can't find my Spring Foliage stamp set when I've come to do the stamp along today, so I'm going to use one of the leaves from the Fabulous Foliage instead. So I'm going to substitute that in. So see, it was a crafty mistake. I thought I'll show you 2 options for this project. And then you're also going to need Sparklicious Glitter in Crystallina and in Tutti Frutti. And Tutti Frutti is that gorgeous vibrant orange. It works so well for the centres of your flowers and things like that. And I think for these nice bright colours, it just looks fabulous. You are also going to need some Luxury Pearl Card in Azalea. So that's that lovely hot pink colour. You're going to need some heat resistant acetate. You're going to need 2 Tim Holtz Distress Oxide ink pads. If you haven't got the oxides, you could just use the normal Distress inks. They will work just as well. It's just the oxides I tend to find are a little bit easier to blend. So you're going to need those in 2 colours. So the colours that I'm using are Dried Marigold and Picked Raspberry, which I always want to call Pickled Raspberry for some reason. No idea why, but it's definitely picked. Then you're going to need some self-adhesive pearls. You're going to need some bling stones for the centres of the flowers. It doesn't matter what colour those are either, because we're going to cover them in glitter, so we'll be customising those anyway. And you are also going to need a white 7x7 straight edge card blank. If you don't have 7x7 cards, you can always do what I do and cut them down from 8x8. Okay then, so we're going to get started. I'm going to turn the card round and I'm going to pop you on the overhead camera so you can see what I'm going to be doing. Okay, so we're going to start off. I think we'll start off by creating the flowers today actually. So we're going to be creating these gorgeous flowers first with the Clematis Flower stamp and die set. So basically if we do these now, it is going to give them a little bit of time to dry, ready for the end for when we come to assemble. Now what I've already done is I've already jumped ahead and I've stamped and embossed 2 sets of the flowers, because obviously with the die cutting it takes a little bit of time for me to kind of be running them through my die cut machine and everything like that. So I thought I'd just hop ahead and pre-do those. Okay then, so we are going to start off, okay, by just taking some plain white card. So this is the smooth white card that I'm using, and this is on the website. This is the one that matches your card blanks as well. It's just a plain white card basically. That's all you need. So when people kind of ask me what size, what weight, not size, sorry, what weight of card that I use for doing my flowers and things, I don't tend to find it matters too much. It's more to do with like the quality of the paper as opposed to the weight. So like this card is 300 GSM, but you'll see it still works perfectly, okay, for creating your flowers and things. But of course if you want to do more delicate things and more shaping and things like that, obviously a lighter weight paper is better for those techniques. But for what we're doing today, this card is absolutely fine. So I'm going to move that out of the way. We're going to take our Clematis Flower stamp. So I've got mine that I've already stuck on an acrylic block. Okay, and again with these stamps, in case anyone's just joining us for the first time today, can you see how our stamps have got that little extra notch of polymer on the top? Okay, that's to help you with your lining up. So I've put my stamps with my polymer little notches pointing upwards, okay, and then our dies, as you can see here, also have a little notch out of them. Okay, so you can see the little notch here. So basically that's like your reference point for when you come to line these up to die cut them out. Okay, so this makes it so much easier, and you can see as well how nice and close we get to the edges. And what I love about this Clematis Flower die is it cuts right into the centre. So what that means is you are going to be able to shape your flowers as well. I can just see in the comments as well, hello to June, hello to Matt, hello to Maxine. Thank you so much for joining me today for the live video. And Matt, I cannot wait to see you. My hair is absolutely desperate, so I can't wait to see you when the lockdown is over and have a right little catch up. Okay then, so back on with the card project. So we're going to be using the fabulous Clematis Flower stamp and die set. And we're going to be using the clear embossing ink pad to start with. Now I know that lots of you are waiting for this to come onto the website, so it's due back in soon. I spoke to Wow about this the other day, and basically they have got them on order, but they're having a little bit of, obviously with COVID-19 and things, that are delays. So again, the best thing to do is to hop over onto the website, and then you can sign up to the stock notifications. So if anything's out of stock, if you click notify me when back in stock, you will then get an email when the stock is back in. And again, Mary, that'll answer your question as well. Have you got any idea when Crystalina will be back in stock? We don't have a date at the moment. I think at the moment for Crystalina, the last time I looked, we're looking at about July time. But again, if you just go onto the website, click notify me when back in stock, you'll then go on the mailing list and you'll get an email when the stock comes in. Okay, so I'm going to take my clear embossing ink pad and we're going to ink our stamp up. So we're going to lots of light tapping all over the image. Okay, and then, so what I've done to start with is I did dust my card with an anti-static bag. I'm sure lots of you will have seen that. Okay, so we're going to pop the lid back on our ink pad. If you have got one of these ink pads at home as well, just while I'm thinking, we do actually have the little refill tools in stock. I've literally just thrown mine in the bin because I've used it all. But this is the little refill tool. So basically, if your ink pad's feeling a little bit dry, but you don't necessarily need a new one, it's got a little roller ball on the end. So literally, you just roll this over your ink pad and it just refreshes it and re-inks it. So that's a really another good little tip. Okay, so I'm going to ink this up, and then we're going to take our white card. I'm going to place this down and press. So you want firm, even pressure all over the stamp. Now, can you remember the little tip I gave you? Okay, for when you are lining up your stamps and dies, you need to put that little arrow in, so then you know that your little notches are pointing upwards. Okay, so we're going to place that down and press. Going to lift those off, okay, and you can very faintly, I don't know whether you can see it at home, but I can see very faintly the image there of the ink. Okay, we're now going to take our Wow Clear Gloss Superfine Embossing Powder and we're going to sprinkle this over. Okay, and what this is going to do, okay, it's going to be like magic, trust me. Okay, I'm going to grab some scrap paper. That one's got little notes on. Just grab a sheet of paper from here. Okay. And we're going to sprinkle over our clear gloss embossing powder and then tap off the excess. Okay. My clear gloss has got bits of glitter in and all sorts. I'm sure yours is like that at home as well. Okay, so what we're going to do now is pop that back into the jar. And I'm going to heat this up. So we're going to use our heat tool. So again, this is the Wow one that I'm using. So it's a dual speed heat tool. I always just go for the highest heat. So you can just see, this is probably the hardest thing to show you on the camera today. I've really challenged myself. You can just see how that clear embossing powder is starting to melt and change there. Now the one thing that I would advise for this technique is you do want to make sure that your ink pad's quite clean for this, because obviously if your ink pad's a little bit kind of dirty or grubby, it's going to show through the clear embossing powder. Okay, so if I hold that up, can you see? Very faint, isn't it? Honestly, when you do this at home, it'll just pop a little bit more. I've just missed a little bit in the corner there. There we go. Okay, so that's those nicely heated up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp one more large one now. So I'm going to put an arrow on there. And then I'm going to take my stamp. I'm going to take the medium size one off and I'm going to use the large one. So for this project, you need 6 large and 3 medium stamped onto white card, your clear embossing ink pad and your clear gloss superfine embossing powder. Okay, what we're then going to do is stamp this one down. Right, so I'll put my arrow right out the way there. I needed it a little bit closer, so we'll do that again. Put that one in there. And then we're going to sprinkle this over. Like so. Tap away the excess. You can just see. Can you see that there? Okay. Then we're going to heat that one up too. So we're going to put that back into the jar. And then we're going to heat this one up as well. Trust me, it doesn't look like we're doing much yet. But when you see this all come together, your card will just start to pop. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I always like to roughly cut out my shapes. So I just literally trim them down like this, very roughly. Like so. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take our dies. I'm going to place these over the top. So again, because we've got that little arrow, we're just lining up that little arrow with the notch there and placing that down. And then I'm just going to use a little bit of removable tape here. So the one that I'm using is the Scotch low tack removable tape, okay, this is the one that I personally prefer because I tend to find it doesn't tend to like lift the surface off your card. But you could use a little bit of masking tape, a little bit of washi tape. If you are slightly concerned that your tape is a little bit too tacky, what you can always do is you can always just de-tack it a little bit on your clothes and that'll just help to take some of the stickiness away. So I'm going to stick that one on there. I'm going to take my medium size one, just roughly line that up there. Just spend a little bit of time making sure you've got these nicely lined up as well. Looks good to me there. A little bit more tape at the bottom. So I always tend to try and tape at least twice with my stamp and die images just to make sure they don't move. So I'm going to take my Gemini Junior now. So I've just got my plates here. So I'm using my clear base plate, my magnetic shim, my plastic shim, and I'm going to put my card on, cut side up. And then I'm going to take my cutting plate over the top. Okay, I'm sure your cutting plates aren't as disgraceful as mine are at home. Okay, so I'm going to run that through the machine. Okay. And we just grab that at the other side. So then you can see how our flowers have cut out perfectly. Okay. So I'm going to pop that to one side, like so. And then I'm going to take my larger die and then I'm going to pop this on top of here. Like so. Going to go under there, and then our plates on the top, and we'll just run that back through our die cutting machine. Get rid of the little leftover bits there. You can always keep them actually for stenciling. I always keep meaning to do that. Make a lovely little background. You can make a background stencil out of them, couldn't you, if you position them nicely. Okay, so we're going to take this away. See, Monica's going to colour her flowers before die cutting. Of course you can do that if you find that easier. Whatever works for you is fine. There's no right or wrong way when we're doing any of this. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, I've got a little mat here. I'm going to put this down because it's like to help you keep your work surface clean and tidy. So it's just the inking mat. Okay, it's just like a non-stick sheet really. Right, so what we're going to do is you need to have 6 of your large clematis flowers, got 6 of those, and 3 of your medium. Okay, and now we're going to start and add some colour onto these. So to do that, I'm going to be using my Distress Oxide ink pads, which, do you know what, I've become a little bit obsessed with lately. They are absolutely beautiful. Okay, so you've got, I'm using picked raspberry. Always want to call it pickled, I've got no idea why. So picked raspberry and dried marigold are the 2 colours that I've chosen. Okay, so you could be you could use any colours with these. I really like peacock feathers as well. That's a nice kind of tealy blue colour, and there are some gorgeous colours in this range. So I would, any that you've maybe already got at home, of course you can be using. Just change your colour theme to suit. Okay, so I'm going to take my picked raspberry first, and I'm actually going to take a different bit of cut and dry foam. I can find where I've thrown my cut and dry foam to, it would be very helpful. Might just cut a little piece off here. Oh no, I'll put it up here. So basically, I always get a lot of questions about this, and I've used cut and dry foams for years. But basically, cut and dry foam, this is a really grubby ink coloured really grubby sheet of it, but basically what it is it's just an uninked ink pad. So you can use this with your distress ink. Do you know, like when you get the blending tools and you've got that really nice soft foam on the end of it? It's basically that in like a sheet form, so then you can just cut it to size. And then the back's like a thick like foamy material, so it works really nicely. It's easy to hold. I personally prefer using this compared to a little blending tool. So literally all you do with it is just cut a piece off. And like you can keep the pieces of these and keep reusing them. You don't have to kind of keep cutting a new piece each time. But what I tend to do is just cut a little square down for each colour. So I'm going to use my picked raspberry first. So I'm going into my distress ink, and then we're just going to start to ink. Okay, I've done this one the wrong way around. I should have gone orange in the middle and pink to the edges, but never mind. Okay, and then we're going to take our dried marigold. Going to ink this around the edge. Like so. Just go in and kind of blend the colours. But what I tend to find with the oxide inks is they're quite creamy. So then, can you see how that clear embossing powder is popping through the image? Okay, so you can see how you get the white popping through. But what you can then do if you want is just take another little piece of cut and dry foam, and if you just rub over the surface, it'll just lift off any excess that's already on the surface of there, like so. Okay, So that's the first one. So what I actually think I might do, I'm going to change this up. So in the larger ones, I'm going to put a little bit of orange in the middle, I think. So this is a dried marigold. So again, you can just go in with your cut and dry foam. And then I'm going to take my picked raspberry. Just going to ink around the edges. And again, you can see how I've got quite like a harsh line between the join. I'm not stressing about that at the minute. That'll be fine, we'll blend it in afterwards. So, a little bit of ink. Okay, so you can see that one there. But you can see how that ink pad really starts to, not the ink pad, the embossing powder really starts to pop through. I can see Joan's asking, could you use ordinary ink pads? Yeah, you can do, Joan. Work just fine. Any of your distress inks, anything like that would be absolutely fine for this technique. The reason why I'm using the distress oxides is I personally find them a little bit more kind of creamy. So they're quite nice for blending. So if you struggle getting a nice blend on things, I would definitely be investing in a couple. Even if you just get a couple of colours just to kind of try and see how you get on with them, really. But yeah, they're really nice. I'm really impressed with them. Not much of a kind of, I don't use many ink pads either actually. For all I stamp, I tend to do a lot of heat embossing. So using these has been a nice change. So this project that we're doing today was inspired by one of Glynis's that she made for the blog. And everyone loved it and kind of was asking on social media about how to do the background and things. So I was like, yes, that will make a lovely stamp along. So that's why we're using these today. Okay, but you can see how pretty that then looks. Okay, then I'm going to just, so when we start to layer these up, you'll see how they start to pop. Actually, I prefer that to my original one. Changing the colours up there. Sometimes things just happen, don't they, when you're crafting. So I'm going to take a little bit more. I'm going to go in with the orange in the middle, like so. And then we're going to go around with the pink around the edges. This is picked raspberry again. It's like magic though, I always think, when the embossing powder pops through with the resist. It always looks amazing. Such a pretty technique. I'm going to take a little bit more of the dried marigold. I'm going to drag that like in the middle and drag it out. You can see how pretty that then is. Okay, really, really nice. And then we're going to do a little bit more. Yeah, orange in the middle. I had to think then. I'm going to go with the pink around the outside. So this is picked raspberry. It's a nice bright pink as well, this. That's what I really like about it. I think this card's so nice and summery as well with the colours. It's nice and bright. Just a nice card as well to send to someone. Maybe it's just to say hello, just to kind of brighten that day up a little bit. It'd be a really nice one, this one. So I'm just going back in with the orange, which is the dried marigold, and just blending it a little bit. You can see that there. So I'm going to continue on doing these. So with the smaller ones, I'm going to go in with the pink in the middle. After the little mistake I made on the first one, could have got away with that, couldn't I, if I hadn't said. Becky's asking, would white embossing powder work? Yes, it would. So you could use white embossing powder instead of clear if you wanted to. I just tend to find the clears a little bit more smooth, and sometimes for me, I don't know what everyone else's white embossing powder is like, but mine seems to end up with every other colour in as well off when I'm crafting. So I just tend to use clear for this technique, and clear is one that I always have a lot in my stash of. Okay, so that's that one, and then we're going to do a couple more, and then that's our flowers done. We'll just pop a little bit of glitter on, then they can be drying while we're doing the other elements for the project. So we want the peach in the middle, it's dried marigold, but you can see, even if you just wanted to do one colour, you could just put a little bit of that in the middle and then just blend it out a little bit, and that would work really nicely too, actually. So this is what's so amazing. And of course, if you wanted to have like a bit of a pearlescent finish to your flowers, you could always have stamped and embossed these onto pearl paper, like our crystal white pearl paper. and pop your ink over. Would have worked really, really nicely, that. Okay then. So we'll just drag out our colour. You can see that one there. So just got a couple more to go. Thank you so much for all of your comments. I can see you're all in the comment box there. So thank you so much for joining me today. That's that one there. If you've got any questions while I'm going as well, pop them in there and I'll do my best to answer them as I go. Sometimes they'll come in a little bit quick, so I do miss some, but if you've got a question, just pop it in and I'll try and answer as we're going through. I do keep glancing up because I've got my laptop set up next to me, so. Okay, so we're going to just blend again. So you can see I had quite like harsh definition lines there between the colours, but just by going in with your piece of cut and dry, you can just blend that out a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to pop that to one side and I'm going to do the next one here. So, and this one, this is the smaller one, so we're going to go with a bit of pink in the middle, like so, and then we're going to go in with the dried marigold around the edge. So one thing, sometimes it is a little bit easier doing your ink them before you die cut them, because you can, if you're not careful, you can kind of lose a petal. But I did that on the finished sample and you'd have never known, would you? I just glued it back on with a bit of 3D glue gel. Okay, so we're going to put that one to one side there. And that's all looking really good to me. So that's our little flowers, all nicely inked up there. Okay, so you can see that there. So see, Ruth's just asking, what weight is the paper or card you use, please? So I did kind of mention this at the start. So basically, I don't really bother about card weights or anything like that. I just kind of use what I like. So today we're using like 300 GSM card to create the flowers. But obviously, if you're doing a little bit more shaping and things, you could use a slightly lighter weight. You could be using like a paper about 120 GSM is what our pearl paper is. Okay. So I'm going to lift my little inky mat out the way because I'm going to need that again in a minute. We'll pop that over there. And we're going to grab in our flowers. So we're going to do a little bit of glittering now. So we're going to be using this one here. Okay, so this is Tutti Frutti. So basically this has lots and lots of different colours in there. It's got oranges, it's got yellows, you can sometimes see purples. It is a really pretty colour. So we're going to be using that for the front of the flowers to pop in the centres and in the middle. Just see a question coming from Julie. Julie's asking, hi Chloe, when you die cut, does it crack the embossing powders if die cutting after embossing? Yes, it can do, but what you can do is get to know your die cutting machine. And like my machines are quite old now. I've had them since the very first came out. So get to know your die cut machine and just play about with your plate combination, because what you might find is like in one of my Geminis, instead of putting the magnetic shim in, I put the metal shim in, so it makes the sandwich a little bit thinner. So because you're then taking a little bit of the pressure off the die cut machine and off the card, if that makes sense, it tends to stop it from cracking as much. So I hope that's kind of answered your questions. Just have a little bit of a play around really. Okay, so I'm going to be using Tutti Frutti in our Sparklicious glitter now, and I'm also going to be using our dry clear glue. So it's this one here. So you can buy the little fine tip separately to your glue, okay? And I would always recommend getting one of the fine tips. It comes with a little stainless steel pin as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and start to glitter these. Now before I glitter them, because we've used an ink pad on them, what I tend to do is give them like a little pat with an anti-static bag. And what that tends to do is, where your ink might still be a little bit wet, it's just going to kind of lift, like not make the glitter cling, if that makes sense, to where the ink's still a little bit wet. So that's what I tend to do. It just helps to dry them out a little bit as well. Okay, so I'm going to pop that to one side. Okay, and see, Donna's saying there's no sound. Where I am, Donna, everything's working okay. So maybe just check on your tablet or your device that you're watching on. It might just be that you've got the volume turned down. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take our dry clear glue, and where the little dots are on the stamens of the flower, can you see that on the stamp design? I'm going to just add in a little dot of PVA. Okay, like so. Then we're going to take our Tutti Frutti glitter and sprinkle that over the top. Tap off the excess. You can see how that then just lifts the flowers. I always think it just takes them to another level, I would say. Okay, so I'm going to pop that to one side and see Joanna's asking, when will the Christmas collection be? That will be July. We don't normally launch Christmas in June. We always launch Christmas in July. Okay, so we're going to add a little dots of glue just under the ends of the stamen here. You can see how that then starts to look. And again, look, if I've gone a little bit off where the stamens are perfectly, I'm not too bothered about it. It's still going to look lovely when I sprinkle the glitter over. Okay, so I'm going to take my glitter and pop that over the top. Try to put them all out the way to dry and try to think of somewhere I can put them. Do you know what I'm going to grab? I've got a little box lid here. I'm going to pop them all in here and then I can keep them all together and hopefully not smudge them. Oh, it's going on a mission across my desk now. There we go. Okay. So I'm just popping the glue onto there. I'm going to do this on all of the flowers. Okay. That's that one. And then gonna pop this one on as well. Thank you so much for all of your comments. I can see that lots of you are asking questions about stock. Again, if you just go onto the website, click notify me when back in stock, pop your email address in there, you'll be on the stock list for that product. So basically, any time that any stock is loaded, you're going to get an email about it. Okay. And that really is the best way, because at the moment, obviously with the current situation and things, it's sometimes very, very hard to kind of give out the dates. Okay. Can see Joanna's saying she can remember rhubarb and custard sweets. Yes, I love those too. Do you know what else this reminded me of actually? The colours. Do your fruit salads, like they were like chewy sweets, weren't they? Fruit salads. They remind me of them. They were really nice sweets as well. We're all going to be starving by the end of this live, aren't we, if we keep talking about sweets and things? Okay then. Oh, I can see Sandra's just commented. Thank you so much, Sandra. I hope you're staying safe and well. Sandra normally comes to the crop on a Wednesday, but obviously the shop's not open at the moment. Okay, so we're going to pop this into the box. Okay. So I'm just adding my little dots onto here. I know this is probably a little bit boring for you to watch at home, but it is kind of essential for the project. I mean, a project's not complete without a bit of glitter and sparkle, is it? So we'll just keep going. The little dots on there. Okay, so we're going to pop this one on. Okay, so just building this up, and again, if you want to kind of watch this video back or anything, I will be popping it onto YouTube and it'll go onto the Facebook page as well. Okay. Oh, in other news as well, you might want to all make sure you signed up to the newsletter, because it's an exciting announcement going out on Monday. That's a totally different, that's not related to new product or anything, but it's very exciting, so definitely make sure you signed up. Okay, so I've popped that back into the jar. I'm going to pop the lid onto there. Actually, while I've still got the glitter on the go, I'm going to take my little jewels. The ones that I've got are yellow, because for some reason I've got a load of these in my drawer in my craft room. And I'm going to take my PVA glue. I'm going to cover the little dots with the dry as clear PVA, and then we're going to sprinkle this over, and then that'll just create our little blingy centres for the flowers. Okay, So I'm going to leave those to dry as well. So I'm going to put that little box just to one side. Okay, and we're going to pop all of this back into the jar. Like so. I'm going to put my glitter away. Okay, and I'm just going to get rid of the excess glitter. I'm going to get rid of the glitter off my mat here as well. Okay, right, so what we're going to do next is we are going to be creating our background. So if I bring this in, you can see, look, I didn't bother putting the files on that section because I knew you wouldn't see them. Just put them on the bits you'd see. But anyway, you can just see how we're going to create this background. So we're going to be using the same inking technique as we did for the flowers, but we're going to create like a full background with it, which will be really, really pretty. So again, you could be changing this up and doing it in different colours, and it will give it a totally different look. Okay, so we're going to start off by taking, again, just some plain white card. Okay, and we're going to take our geometric background stamp. Okay, which is this one here. This is a whopper of a stamp. Okay, it's a really nice big stamp. This is like, you can see how far it goes across an A4 sheet. So basically, when we designed these, we designed them with 8x8 cards in mind, but of course they're all scaled so they work perfectly on your smaller projects too. So I'm going to take my stamp and I'm going to take my clear embossing ink pad again. So this is the Wow clear embossing ink pad. I'm just going to put the pin in the top of my glue just so it doesn't dry out. Okay, so we're going to, oops, not throw it at myself hopefully. We're going to take the clear embossing ink pad and we're going to ink up our stamp. So you want lots and lots of tapping all over the place. Okay, and just, you want to make sure you're getting plenty of ink onto that stamp. Okay, then we're going to take our piece of white card, we're going to give it a little dust with an anti-static bag, and we're going to stamp this down. So, stamp that one there. Now I always find it easier to stand up when I'm stamping this stamp. I'm going to just push my mat back just a little bit, then you're a little bit more in shot as to what I'm doing. Oops. Try not to knock the camera as I go. Okay. No, I've got a new little camera holder and everything. We're getting quite professional now. So I'm going to lift this off here. Okay, and I don't know whether you'll faintly be able to see that at home, but we've got the background stamped nicely down there. So what I'm going to do now is take my clear embossing powder, sprinkle this over and tap off the excess. Okay, so you can see how that's then covered the design. So we're going to just heat this up now. See, Monica's saying hers seems to swell up when she puts it back in the jar. I know that does tend to happen, doesn't it? I think it happens with a lot of the glitters as well. They just seem to expand. Okay, so I'm going to heat this up now. So I'm just going to use my heat gun. And just by holding my heat gun still, I'm going to just move it over the image. Now, some people would probably tell you to heat this from underneath. Personally, I don't tend to do that because I tend to find it can scorch your card a little bit more. Something that you kind of get it a little bit of a more even texture, but to be honest, I don't tend to see it as much of a problem. So I just tend to heat it from above, then you've got less chance of scorching your card when you're heating it up. But at the end of the day, if you feel happy you're heating it from underneath, you go for that. It's always like magic, isn't it, when you watch the embossing powder turn. I love watching the metallic ones as well. You can see this lovely high gloss sheen that we're going to get on here. Even just with the, just by creating a background like this would be really nice. So it's clear, can you see that there? Okay, there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-ink my stamp. Deb, you might want to turn the volume down again because I'm going to be re-inking my stamp. Okay, so I'm going to take my geometric background stamp and we're going to ink this up and then like realign it up. So, lots of light tapping. Say light, it's like a herd of elephants, isn't it, over the stamp. But anyway, lots of tapping all over your image, like so. Okay, and then we are going to place this down. So what we're going to do So before we re-stamp that, we're going to just over with that anti-static bag. Okay, and then we're going to line this up. So to do this, okay, what I tend to do is, again, I have to stand up when I'm stamping this. Okay, so I tend to stand up so I'm directly over the image, and then can you see how I'm like overlapping, but just the little tiny points. Okay, so I just hover like that, and when I'm happy I press. Okay, again, if you don't get it quite perfect, you don't tend to notice it too much, and with putting the little pearls on, that tends to disguise it a little bit as well. So we'll just place that down. I'm going to lift that off, and that's actually that's really good. So I've kind of this end's a little bit too high, but by the time I get the pearls on there, that'll look fine. So what we'll do now is take our clear embossing powder again, sprinkle that over, tap off the excess, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to repeat this process again. Okay, so if you missed that with the lining up, I'm going to do it again to show you. So again, you're just going to hold your heat gun still. And then as soon as that powder starts to melt and change, we're just moving the heat gun over the image. And that's really important. I noticed that we had an email this week, someone was saying that the card was going yellow when they were heat embossing, and if that happens, basically you're heating it far too long, you're burning your card. You literally just want to see that powder start to melt and change, and then you just want to move your heat gun over the image like so. Okay, so that's that lovely background, and you can see how that's perfectly linked up. Okay, so I'm going to pop that to one side, and we're going to repeat that. So we're going to do exactly the same again. So I'm going to just put my clear embossing powder back into the jar. Like, it's got blooming stars and everything in there. It's meant to be clear. I do try and keep it to be clear. Okay, so I'm going to take another piece of white card, and we're going to just repeat the same technique. So we're going to, just with an anti-static bag, like so. I'm going to put that to one side. I'm going to grab in my geometric background stamp. Okay, honestly, when you get these stamps home, you are going to love them. Like, I'm obsessed with them. I'm using them on all my projects. I've been making some samples with the new Christmas products. I was doing them last weekend, I think it was. And honestly, when you see what we've got launching, like, it is unbelievably exciting. I honestly can't wait. And I'm loving doing these stamp-alongs every week for everyone as well. So we've got loads of ink on there. What we're now going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to position it down just across the bottom. And then we're going to place this down onto our card, like so, and then press. So again, you want firm, even pressure all over the image. So you can see, like so. Lift that off, okay, so you can see we've got a really nice crisp image again there. With the background stamps as well, I would try and make sure that your ink pad's quite kind of juicy, and make sure it's got plenty of ink in there, because with them being large stamps, you do want to make sure that you get plenty of ink onto them. Okay, so you can see that there. Now, if you wanted to risk it, if you're feeling risky, you could always do your linking up now, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to heat mine up and then link it up, because I don't want to smudge my embossing powder, and I certainly don't want to get like a fingerprint across the middle either. So again, I'm just holding the heat gun still, and as soon as you see that powder melt and change, I'm just moving it over the image. Honestly, it's such a, I just find embossing powder magical. I love it. I don't think, no matter how long you've crafted, I don't think it ever gets boring, does it? Right, that is all. A little bit more in the middle, sorry. Sometimes you just have to tilt it a little bit towards the window, don't you, to see what where you are, but you can see that's worked perfectly. Wendy's asking, do we have this stamp in stock? Yes, we do, Wendy. If you have a look on the website, chloescreativecards.co.uk, you will see that we've got this gorgeous stamp in stock. It is called the Geometric Background, okay, and it is gorgeous. So we are going to take our Geometric Background stamp again, and we're going to re-ink it, and I'm going to show you how to line it up. So, clear embossing ink pad. Lots of tapping all over the image, like so. And then we're going to take our stamp. So again, when we line this up, okay, oh, thank you for your comments, Denise. I love the stamps and colours. Thank you. I'm so pleased that you found us as well. Okay, so you can see where these little points are at the top of the geometric background. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hover over the image. Okay, so again, standing up, I do find this easier. You're going to hover over the image, and then you're just going to have a little look through your stamp, okay? This is where clear stamps come into their own, and you're going to place down and press, okay? So once you're happy with how you've got that lined up, you're going to just press that down, like so. I'm going to lift this away. So if we lift this off, there we go. Oh, look at that, perfection. I've lined that up perfectly. Okay, it is easy. Once you kind of get your eye in and know where you're lining up to, it is super, super easy. So we're going to take our clear embossing powder, not ink pad. We're going to tap that over. You can see, look at that, perfection, how I've lined that up. So easy to do as well. Now if you get any like fingerprints on the areas you've already embossed, like I've got there, take a paintbrush and dust those off. Because we're doing a resist background, if you get anything like that in the background, it will show when we put the ink over the top. Okay, I'm going to put that back into the jar, and that's going to go to one side. Oh, thank you, Jackie. Jackie says she loves Wednesdays. I know, it's nice to have something to look forward to in the week, isn't it? So at the moment it just feels like, honestly, I don't know what day it is half the time. So we're just tracing the embossing powder again with the heat gun. Okay, so you can just see how that is all nicely lined up. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, Wendy, I'm going to answer your question in a moment. It's cut and dry form, but we're going to be using it in a second. Okay, so we're going to trim this down. So this background is going to be 6.5 inches square. So cut a bit off the top. So I always like to trim my background down to start with. And then we're going to go 6.5 by 6.5, and it's just that size width wise. Okay, so that's that one, and we're going to do exactly the same with the other one that we've done. Okay. Oh, I see Ruth's asking, wish I did more of these lives. I know. Hey Ruth, I wish I had more hours in the day at the moment. Just days are flying by at the minute. Okay, so I'm going to pop this into here. I know they're not live, but if you hop over to my YouTube channel, and actually there's videos on here, there's video going up on Friday as well. But if you hop over onto the YouTube channel, there are loads and loads of videos and tutorials on there. Sorry, I've just knocked the camera there with my guillotine. Right, so I'm going to just wipe over my mat again. Try and keep a bit neat and tidy here. This is just a stamping mat that I'm using, but just keep your eyes peeled for what's coming soon. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab in my inking mat again. I'm going to pop that down, and we're going to take 2 pieces of cut and dry foam. So I've got two quite large pieces here. So this is what I was using before I do my inking. So it's basically like an uninked ink pad on the top, so it's like quite a smooth form, and then the base is like a more rigid hard form, so it's really easy to hold. So what we're going to do is take our two colours. So we've got dried marigold and we've got picked raspberry, okay, and we're going to use those two to just ink over our background. So this is really easy to do. We're going to just pick the colour up from the ink pad and we're going to just ink over like so. And then can you see how by putting the ink over it you get the resist popping through from the embossing powder? So basically all I'm going to do is just really randomly ink this up, okay? And this again was inspired by one of Glynis's projects, so if you hop over onto the blog on the website you'll be able to see there's some similar projects to this that Glynis did, and honestly they're just fabulous. But it's a really nice technique, and when I saw finished samples I was like, oh my word, that's such a cool idea. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there with the pink for now. So it doesn't look that great, does it, at the moment? It looks a little bit patchy to say the least. But we're going to take our dried marigold now and we're literally just going to ink over the top like this. Okay, and then we can go back in with the pink, add a little bit more pink in if we want to, darken that down. But then can you see how nicely these colours blend? Okay, and to be honest with you, I tend to find that the Distress Oxides blend a little bit easier. So if you've struggled before with blending, this is definitely a really good way to do it. Okay, so I'm going to ink these up, and see some of the ladies in the comments are saying that they use makeup sponges as well. So yeah, anything like that really. I've just always used cut and dry foam, and to be honest with you, it's not kind of too expensive. You normally get a big sheet for about £5, which is obviously good value, because then you're just cutting it up and using it in little pieces, and once you've cut a piece for this colour you can just keep it and keep using it. What I have seen people do as well is put a little piece of velcro on the back of here and a piece of velcro on there, and then they attach these underneath, which is a cool idea too. Okay, so we're going to continue inking this background. So we're going to do this on both of those squares that we've cut down. I'm going to go in with a bit more pink. See, I'll be here all day building this background up. I cannot be the only crafter that gets carried away like this. Okay, then we're going to put a little bit of the dried marigold in over here as well. So we're just going to buff this in. Bit more pink. Can't go wrong with a bit of extra pink, can you? I honestly didn't realise how many pink cards I made till we started sorting the samples out at work, and honestly it's incredible how many we do. Okay, so that looks really pretty to me. So that's that background done. And we're going to do exactly the same on the next one. What I'm also going to do, I'm just going to put a little bit more blend over this, just a fraction more. A little bit more of the orange in there, like so. Okay, then we're going to do exactly the same on the next one. So again, I'm going in with the picked raspberry. Okay, I love doing things like this as well. It's nice, I think, just to have a background making day sometimes. Then you can have great fun kind of building up all of your cards and using them as well. Okay, so just randomly, there's no rhyme or reason to this either. I'm just kind of going in and just getting some colour on there. That's the most important thing, making sure that you've got the colour on the background. Okay, it's like a workout this as well, isn't it, blending these colours? Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of the dried marigold. Just keep blending it in. Okay, like so. can tell I'm concentrating. I've gone really quiet now, haven't I? I'll try and keep talking. But you can just see how by building your colour up like this, it is so pretty. Again, you could be doing this in any colours. Like, I always think turquoises and purples look nice as well, so you could be using those. Nicola's what's asking, are distress ink pads okay at using your stamps? Yes, they are absolutely fine to use on the stamps. The only thing is, please remember that they are called distress ink pads. So when you stamp with them, they're going to give you a distressed finish, okay? Because that's the nature of the ink. So please just remember that. If you want like a pristine black line or anything, I would always recommend VersaFine. That's what I use. Okay, but yes, they are absolutely completely safe. They're a water-based ink. So the inks that you shouldn't be using on your stamps are solvent-based. So, and that's on any clear photopolymer stamp. So the solvent-based ones are something like your stays on, because basically what a stays on does is the solvent in it reacts with the photopolymer. So over time it can just cause your stamps to degrade, which obviously you don't want. Okay. Samantha's asking, do you know when the extra large stamping blocks will be coming back in? Okay, so the stamping blocks, we don't have a date. We won't be getting any of those back in stock, but we've got something coming very soon that will replace those. Okay, but again, if you hop over to the website and just sign up to the newsletter, you'll never miss a thing. And if there's any out of stock products that you want to know when they're coming back into stock, if you go onto the website and sign up to the stock notification, so it'll just say notify me when back in stock. If you take those, if you pop your email, if you click on there and then pop your email address in, you'll tend to find that you'll get an email straight away as soon as any stock's loaded. Okay, so just move that mat out of the way. Okay, and see, Anne's saying you make it look so easy, I always end up with a big blob. Honestly, Anne, with the Distress Oxides, they've kind of got like, only way I can describe it is like a creamy texture. So when you first put them on like and end up with a blob, if you keep working it and then work your lighter colour in, you'll tend to find that you get like a more even blend. So yes, if you're struggling with that, I would definitely recommend them. Okay then, so we're going to start and assemble our card. So I've got my 7x7 card blank here. Okay, and we're going to be making like a twisted easel. So we're going to have to fold it. So what I've done is I've taken my card blank, which I've got here, and I've got the fold line on the left side. Okay, so that's where the spine of my card is. What I'm then going to do is I've just got a ruler here. Look at this. For a ruler. Look at the sparkle on that, eh? Pretty cool. So then I'm going to take an embossing tool and I'm going to line up. So I'm going to go from that corner down to that corner. Just going to score a line. Okay. And then we're going to fold that across, so we're like folding it back on itself. You don't have to score it if you don't want to. I didn't on the finished sample, but I thought I should show you the proper way to do it. So then you can just take like a bone folder and just score down, and that'll then create your twisted easel card. Okay, really easy to do. So what we're going to do now is we are going to take a piece of azalea pearl card, which I've cut this down to, this is down to 6 3/4 by 6 3/4. Okay, and I've just realised that I haven't cut down my little piece of white card to mat this one onto. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 1/4 inch off this piece. So let me just grab in my guillotine. So basically I've cut this down at the wrong side. So your 2 inked pieces, one to cut down to 6 1/4 inches. Like so. Okay, and then I'm going to take some more white card. So I want another 2 sheets, and I'm going to cut this down to 6 1/2 inches square. Okay, so I'm going to take our guillotine. Again, just line this up. Those to one side, and then I've also got a second square of the azalea card that I've cut to 6 3/4. So what we're going to do with these parts are we're going to cut them diagonally across. So basically that's going to stand on the top of our easel. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to cut diagonally. Just use my guillotine, I'm just lining it up. Okay, so that's that piece done. We're going to do exactly the same with the white card. Just cutting it diagonally, and then we're going to do exactly the same with one of our lovely patterned pieces. So again, just pop that in and cut it diagonally. Then if you hold on to those pieces, because we're going to use them in a moment, and just try to line that up there. Okay, that's that all done there, all trimmed down. Okay, so we're going to start and do our matting and layering now. Now before we do that, we're going to pop, of course it wouldn't be complete without a little bit of crystalline glitter, would it, around the edges. So we're going to use a little bit of that. You could actually use Crystal Twinkle, that would be nice for this as well, because I know Crystalline is out of stock on the website at the moment. Okay, Carol, I can see you've missed the start and you wanted to watch how to make the flowers. Do not worry, the video will be going up on the page once I've finished, and I'll also pop it on YouTube as well, so you can refer back at any time. So I'm just using a chisel tip glue pen, and we're just dragging this along the edge of the card. So then we're going to do exactly the same again. So just by dragging this along, you can just see how that then works. So we've got a lovely little glittery border there. Okay, and see, Nan's asking, what make is your guillotine? It's a tonic one. I've had it for years. It's a bit weird because I lost the ruler off the edge, but I've got one off another guillotine. Guillotine, that's why none of the colours match. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just start to build the card up. So we'll pop that to one side. Okay, and we're going to just start to stick this together. So on our base, we are going to use our Azalea Pearl card to start with. So I've got a little bit of glue on here. Oh, have I missed the white card off the worksheet there? I've maybe missed it off. That's maybe why I haven't prepped it for myself, but you definitely need it. Okay, just a little bit of white card to mat your background onto. See, I'm just checking that you're all paying attention to my worksheets, really. Okay, so you can see how we can just start to mat and layer this up. It's going to go onto there. Okay. The powder that I was using to dip that into was Crystalina Glitter. Nina, the two distress inks I've used are Picked Raspberry and Dried Marigold. You could be using any two colours that work well together, but again, it's all on the project sheet, and the full details are on the blog for what I'm using. Okay, so I'm going to pop my white card on top of there, like so, and then I'm going to take my lovely geometric background. I'm going to pop that onto there. You can see Wendy's asking where to get the geometric background. So if you go onto the website, chloescreativecards.co.uk, and if you just type in geometric background, it'll come up for you. The stamp's $7.99 on its own. Okay, we're going to pop that onto there. Okay, so you can see how that's starting to mat and layer up. And then we're going to mat and layer this little triangle part up as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our Azalea card to start with. A little bit of glue on the back. Again, it looks like I'm putting a lot of glue on my matting and layering, but really I'm not. The fine tip's kind of just scratching the surface. So that piece is going to go onto there. So you can see how that'll then sit on our card. Okay. And then we're going to take the white card and pop this over the top. So we're just matting and layering now. Matting and layering the triangles. So that's then going to go onto there. And then we're going to take our inked background. Again, a little bit of glue on the back. Go onto there, like so. Okay, so when I turn this round, you can see how that's then all nicely coming together. So what we're going to do now is grab our flowers back in, okay, and we're going to start to build these up. So these are hopefully, yeah, they're dry enough to shape now. So all I'm going to do is hold the middle of the flower and then just curl them between your finger and thumb, like so. So we're just going to work round, curling the petals. Okay, so again I always tend to hold the flower in the middle as well, and then it just gives you a little bit of kind of, it's just a little bit easier to work with. Carol, I can see you're asking about vellum. I know, Julie, no foam pads, that's amazing, isn't it? I can see you're asking about vellum flowers. Next week's Stamp Along is going to be all about vellum, so maybe tune into that one, and then I'll be explaining all about how to stick the flowers together and things like that. Okay, so then we're going to just work round this one. So again, you're just adding that little bit of shape and dimension to the flower. It's not too difficult. Okay, we're just curling with our finger and thumb. It's dead easy to do as well. Okay, and then what we're going to do is use our Dries Clear PVA. I'm going to put a blob in the middle. And what I like to do with this particular flower is I like lift like 4 petals up like that. I just think it gives it a little bit more dimension. Then I'm going to twist that to offset it and stick it on the top like so. And then I'm going to do the same with my smaller one to go in the middle. A bit of glue in the centre. And I'm going to position that down and top like that, give that a little squish down. I do tend to try just to use like an embossing tool just to kind of give it a little squish in the middle, just make sure the glue's in contact more than anything. Then you can take your little blingy senders that we made earlier, just stick one of those down in the middle so you can see how that then builds up. Okay, we're going to continue just building these up. I can see there's a few questions coming in about vellum. Again, if you just watch next week's Stamp Along, I don't kind of want to go into it in too much detail today because it'll just kind of throw me off this project. But next week's Stamp Along is going to be all about vellum and making the vellum flowers. Okay, so we're going to pull these up like this, stick this down in the middle. Do try and give your little centres a little bit longer to dry than I have because I've just squished that one there. It's still a little bit wet. But you can see how that then all starts to come together. Okay, it's going to do exactly the same with the next one. So there's a couple of questions about washing the cut and dry foam. I personally don't. You'll tend to find it just gets a little bit too tatty. So I just keep one piece for each colour. Then when it gets tatty, I put it in the bin. A bit of glue in the middle. Squish like this, and then we're going to lift this one up. You can just see that glue's still a little bit wet there. Put that into the middle, so, and then that's that little flower created. So I'm going to pop those to one side just to give them a couple of seconds to dry, and while they're drying I'm going to bring in some heat. Now if you missed the start of my video, I've missed my explanation as to why I'm not using the spring foliage stamp and why I'm using the fabulous foliage instead. Sorry. So I'm using the fabulous foliage because I couldn't find my spring foliage stamp. I'm going to use the large leaf out of there. Okay, I'll show you how to do this bit. I'm just going to refresh your comments on my feed here because it's not feeding through for some reason. Okay. So I'm going to take my anti-static bag, give that a little dust over. Then we're going to take our stamp. Now with this stamp, I think probably stamp 4. Like the heat resistant acetate. If you've got too many, you can always just put them in a box and then come back and use them another time. Okay, so I'm grabbing that acetate, stamp my first one down. Now again with acetate, you don't need much pressure on the stamp, okay, because it's quite a nice surface to stamp onto. It can be slippery, but this is where I think photopolymer stamps actually have a little bit of an extra benefit to them, to be honest, because the heat resistant acetate is obviously quite a slippery surface, but photopolymer is a naturally kind of sticky substance, so I think that actually helps you a little bit in this case. So I'm going to place that down, lift that off, and we'll do one more. Try and squish it in there. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to take our opaque bright white superfine wow powder. I can find it. Give me 2 seconds. Just this one here. So this is opaque bright white superfine. And just see there's a question there. It's gone off the screen. Who asked it? About the acrylic blocks. So we do normally have them on the website. I think they're out of stock at the moment. But we do have some brand new ones that'll be coming in soon. Okay, they're nicely heated. Now where you can see in the background I've got a few little bits where I've kind of got like a fingerprint like there. Can you see it? I'm not going to stress about it. I'm just going to cut it off when I cut them out. So I'm going to quickly heat this up. Now what you'll find with acetate is it'll turn really quickly, so you do need to watch quite closely. And then as soon as that melts and changes, I'm just going to move your heat gun over the image. Again, I'm not bothered about them fingerprints because I'm going to be putting it out anyway, so that doesn't matter. Okay. Right, we're going to put those to one side, and then we need to create our little easel stopper as well before we assemble this. So we're going to use now a happy birthday die, so that comes in 3 parts. I can get the third one. I need to clean my dies out as I use them. Sorry everyone. Just try and get the bits out. There we go. So it comes in 3 parts. You've got your base one that's like your outline. You've then got a bold one and you've got the fine one. So we're going to cut the base one out of some azalea pearl card, and I'm just using, these are like the leftover bits from when we cut down the triangles. I'm just going to use these bits to cut these out, just roughly from around there. I'm going to risk it, I'm going to try and get all 3 on the plate at once. So we've got that one there. Then we want the white one from some white card. There. Just trim the edge off there. Okay, and that's going to go. Do I think I might do it? I might do it, you know. I'm going to try. Then I'm going to cut the detailed one out from my lovely patterned background. I'm going to just trim this round very roughly. You know, I can't cut a straight line at all. I'm terrible with scissors. Right, that's going to go under there. We'll get that angled so that all fits on nicely. So we're going to grab some removable tape again. And then we're going to tape this down into place. So we're going to go there, the tape there. Right, then we're going to hoe and get these all through the machines in a oneer. Okay, so I'm going to go there. Then we're going to run this through. So I'm going to just feed that. Oh no, it's moved. This is risky, but we're going to try it. Right, we're going to just feed them through all together. Okay. And then when we grab that at the other side, hopefully, there we go. They should be all nicely cut, which of course they are. Okay, so I'm going to push this through, it's that bit, then we're going to tap this out, like so. That's that one, and then we're going to do one more over here, out the dye. There we go, and then we'll get that all nicely layered up now. So let's just get rid of all these little bits because I've got bits of card everywhere. Okay, so what we're going to do now is layer these together, and then this will create our little easel stopper. So I'm going to push these little bits through. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to layer these together. I'm just going to see how I stuck that down. Oh yes. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of glue just onto the back of here. And again, this glue with a fine tip, it does come into its own for little fiddly bits like this. You could, if you wanted, actually, if I'd thought about that, I could have put it on a double-sided adhesive sheet, so then it would have come out and like being sticky. Of course, if you got like a Xyron machine, you could just run it through the Xyron, couldn't you? Right, so I'm sticking that down there, like so. So you can see, it's like an ombre. Happy birthday, doesn't it? Julie's asking would it crack the embossing powder. To be honest with Julie, I'm not too worried on this one if it has, because it's just a little bit of extra detail, isn't it? Okay, so we're going to put that onto there, like so. So then I'm going to use some foam pads for the first time today. Okay, anyone who joins my lives weekly will know this is a very rare occurrence. I normally use a lot more foam pads than I have today. I'm going to put a couple on there. I'm just going to cut a couple of little thin strips down, like so. And then this is going to go onto here, like so. And then I want a little bit more foam, don't I? There we go. Put a little bit more down. Okay. So then we're going to take the backs off the pads, okay, and layer this up, and this is going to like create the stopper for our easel card. You do actually as well, you get a lovely happy birthday stamp as well in with this set, so you can use it in loads. We've like thought of literally everywhere that you'd ever want to use this happy birthday die. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to pop our little happy birthday on at a little jaunty angle. So this is then going to be like the stopper for our easel. So you can see that there. So that's going to make our card stand up. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our flowers. I'm going to arrange them across here. So to do this, I'm going to use some 3D glue gel. I've got one tube of glue gel that I know is blocked, and that is the one that I've just picked up. So I'm going to pick the other one up here. Okay, so 3D glue gel, and we're going to just take the lid off, and we're going to just arrange these flowers. And I know that lots of you are waiting for more sentiment dies like the happy birthday, and we will be doing them. Do not fear. Okay, it's a little bit hard for me to show you, but basically I've stuck one down in the middle. I'm going to stick one at this side, and then I'm going to stick one at the top as well. Like so you can see how I've got them going down the side. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my acetate, my heat resistant acetate, and I'm going to cut these out. So I've cut the leaves out. I'm literally just going to take these, just trim around the edge. I'm going to cut the stem off the bottom. Haven't seen that little bit there. There we go. So I'm going to just cut the stem off the bottom there. And cut around my leaves like this. Okay, and then we're going to cut a little bit off here. So we were meant to be using spring foliage for this project, but I couldn't find my stamps, so I'm using fabulous foliage, but you could be using any of our lovely foliage stamps. I'm going to tuck that one in there. Tuck this little bit in at the top. So basically I'm just like chopping bits off the foliage to tuck in. Okay, so you can see it's really hard to show you this because with it being angled. Can you see that there? So basically that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to take my foliage and my scissors and just keep trimming this round. Chop a little bit off there, I think. You can hear I'm thinking, can't you? As I'm doing this. Right, and then I'm going to take my 3D glue gel. Put a little bit of glue on there. It's going to go in there. Tuck a little bit on the back of there, and then that will go behind that flower. You can't see a thing what I'm doing, can you? So that'll then go in that flower there. So basically all I'm going to do is just go down and build up a bit of foliage behind the flowers. It's going to go in there. Okay, and then I'm going to cut out one more. Just a couple more little leaves, so I'm literally just like chopping bits off. Okay, and I'm going to chuck them in, and then I think I'll leave that at that for the foliage. So you can see that there. Okay, so all you would then need to do to finish this project off, I'm not going to do it because it took me ages and I think it's not very exciting to watch for you all at home, is I just went in and added a little self-adhesive pearl onto the crosses of the geometric background. Okay, so that's all that you then need to do to finish your project off, and that would then be your finished card for today. So I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see me. I'm just going to I'll pop the materials list in just while I move this camera out of the way. So that's what we've been using. You can of course get them all on the website, chloescreativecards.co.uk. Okay, and that will then be your finished project for today. So you can see we created this fabulous twisted easel card. This was very much a Glynis inspired project, and we've used the distress inks to create a resist background as well. So I really hope that you have all enjoyed today's stamp along. It's been fabulous, and if you haven't done so already, have a little hop over at the website and have a look at all the amazing goodies that we've got on there. So it's chloescreativecards.co.uk. As well, we have got a very exciting announcement coming out on Monday morning. So if you haven't done so already, you need to hop over to the website and sign up to the newsletter to make sure that you're on the mailing list. Because if you're on the mailing list, you'll be getting a very, very exciting email on Monday morning. Yes, and we'll be popping it all up on social as well too. So thank you so much to everyone who's joined me. Thank you for your comments. I can see them all starting to come in now. So thank you again, and I will see you all again next Wednesday at 2 o'clock, and we'll be doing some fabulous vellum flowers next week. So it was actually the project that we'll be doing next week was actually a project that I posted on the page when we first launched the new collection. So it was the cream and white wedding card using the rose mallow flower. So I'm going to show you how to create that project. I'm going to do it as like a wedding or an anniversary card, but I'll also show you how if you change the colours up, you could easily make it to suit any occasion, because I know if you're kind of crafting along and you want to send the cards, you might want to make it for a birthday or something as well. So thank you all again so much for joining me. Week 10 on a Wednesday, Stamp Along Live. How exciting is that? You should all have 10 fabulous cards that you've made now as you've been stamping along. So I'm going to go over and have a little look on the Stamps by Chloe Facebook group a little bit later on to see what all of your makes have been, obviously following today's tutorial. And if you haven't done so already, hop over to the website chloescreativecards.co.uk. If you scroll down to the bottom and click on blogs, you'll be able to download a free instruction sheet for this project that we've done today. And I will see you all again next week with another brand new project. So yes, very exciting, and thank you all so much. So I will see you all live next week at 2 o'clock on Wednesday. See you then. Bye.